We record. Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast. This is episode number 759, and I hope you can hear me well. I'm testing the spotlight mode, and I wanted to do that intro from a drone.
So I hope you liked the intro from the drone to this episode 759. I was testing it at Rosnaula Lower. What the drone does is, because basically most of people are not aware, but if you ever plan on buying a drone, remember that drones do not record audio in most cases, mainly because of the whirring sound and noise that they do. Second, they are pretty high and far, so there's no point for audio to be recorded. So in other words, you either need to record the separate track, or you might use kind of intermediary solutions. In case of most of the drones, you would need a USB kind of lavalier phone or lavalier microphone to record on yourself and then stitch it together, the video and audio track, in some form of video editing software later on. In case of DJI Neo that I currently have, and from time to time I show you the footage, this particular thing is very handy, because if you operate DJI Neo from your phone, you can use phone's microphone to record the parallel track. And what's best about it is that the app will stitch it for you automatically before you download. So whenever you download the video from a drone to your phone, it is done in the back end basically before it's downloaded, so you get the full video and audio track together like a normal recording from your phone, which is great. But you must remember that DJI Neo can be operated in three ways. First is headless operation, so without any phone or any controller. It has pre-set modes that you can switch in between and turn them, and you have pretty much zero control over it. Some of them can record longer videos like follow or spotlight, or I think the direction tracking. The others like circle, helix and droney, I believe, and rocket, these modes operate specific A to B kind of scenario. So let's say circle does 360 around you and comes back, so that's the only short video that you'll do. Helix does the same, but it kind of does the circle while raising during the flight, so it does like a helix thing. Rocket basically goes up and down, and droney basically just hovers in front of you and films you. So if you're in a scenic location and you want to film something behind you, like you're on top of a mountain and you have a nice landscape behind you, you just set the drone starts from your palm, it films you, then comes back and lands on your palm, and then you can edit it and add it to something, or like some longer footage or something like that. But the audio stitching from your phone is basically available only in the second type of operation, which is controlling the drone from your phone. You still have availability of those preset modes, but you get the advantage also of the microphone, and you also have manual mode, so you have like a virtual joystick on your screen and you can operate it this way. It's not very good, and it has very limited range, because obviously phone and drone, they have limited kind of Wi-Fi capability, so it can only go as far, and then you need to return. and it's usually just a couple of meters, maybe a couple of tens of meters max, and you need to turn it around. And then there's a third method of control. Well, actually there are 4, but 3 out of the box for DJI Neo. There is a controller that you connect your phone into. It has an antenna, it has a proper joystick, and it extends the range of DJI Neo up to 10 kilometers supposedly in an unobstructed flat area, because obviously if you're in a dense area where there's obstacles like trees or things like buildings, it won't work that far, but at least it gets better reception, better range, and better transmission of the image. And then the fourth that I mentioned, the fourth option is with DJI goggles and remote controllers that are that have been designed for DJI Avata 2. So you can connect those. That turns your DJI Neo into sort of FPV drone, so first person view. You basically need to sit down or stand up steadily in one place. Although goggles allow you to move a little bit around in an augmented way, it's better to just sit down, because the goggles replace you the vision, and you see with the eyes of the drone, with the camera from a drone, and this is how you operate it. I don't think you can record audio when connected with any of the controllers. I didn't actually check 100% on the DJI Neo controller, but I'm pretty sure there's no audio option in there, because phone is connected to the controller and the controller takes over the whole operation. So that's basically it. And this interesting thing is that when you operate from your phone, you connect to the drone's derived Wi-Fi connection. So drone broadcasts the network, you connect your phone to it, and this is how they communicate. So for those of you that rely on a Wi-Fi connection in a very rural area, you will kind of lose access to the internet to some extent. It might be impossible to download firmware or do anything else until you disconnect from DJI Neo, because you're in fact connected to some Wi-Fi, and that Wi-Fi, meaning DJI Neo, has no ability to connect to the internet. In the case of the controller, DJI Neo controller, it has its own connectivity via the cable, so you don't need to connect to the actual network that the drone broadcasts. Instead, you are still on your cellular network or something like that, and you can still use the features that are handy over the internet. So that's too long of an intro to DJI Neo. I guess that's our episode. But let me just quickly update you on yesterday. So yesterday was a pretty straightforward day. We started with standard morning, routine. We dropped Julian at school, went to Rosnella, took our scone and coffee. I know I said that we were about to slow down on the coffee front and going to Bakery Shack, but it is like a bad habit. It needs working on, and we will get there, but for now we seem to be stuck in it. And it's very, very nice to just grab that coffee, go to the beach, drink your coffee, eat a scone, and then you can basically enjoy the walk. And we did the walk. This time we did a slightly different walk than usual. We went down up the ramp we used the street, and then we walked towards the hotel. We went off the ramp near the hotel, went across the small beach kind of strand beside the hotel, and then off the third ramp close to Friary, and then turned and walked along the cliffs towards the Gaslight and the Smuggler's Creek Inn. We observed a couple of things, and one major slightly concerning stuff was that we spotted a new sauna in Rosnala, albeit that sauna is kind of hidden in the garden or in the yard of the surf school nearby the hotel. And I assume that that sauna is kind of targeted more towards the surf school and people coming for lessons and, you know, any kind of surfing. So it's more about doing kind of social space and, you know, warming up after surfing. It's different sauna than ours. Not worse, not better, it's just different. It's a dark wood sauna with a longer chimney. That's why we spotted it, because it was behind the hedge, and I immediately kind of spotted that chimney, and I knew that it's something wood fired. It was coming off the stove. But the sauna doesn't have any window. It like the back of the sauna is completely boarded. It's like a wooden wall. They have glass door, the dark glass door. So that has all kind of separate challenges. It looks fancy. It probably is meant to be fancy. I don't think it will be practical, because the saunas with the glass door are expensive to replace, or the door are expensive to fix and replace, and they are much heavier than any standard door, so the hinges might get more impact from the wood expanding and contracting, and doors are always the weakest and the most often fixed or replaced element of saunas. So that's why we went for wooden ones, but you know, it's preference. It might work well for them, I don't know. But yeah, that sauna is there. I haven't seen any advertising with that sauna, so I don't expect them to operate immediately as a separate publicly accessible sauna, but they might. It's free market. They might be operating sauna there, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I need to visit them and kind of not only probe the intent behind it, but we are still well overdue speaking to surf schools, and I don't see it as a competition, more like a cooperation or collaboration, because, you know, these things can collaborate and flourish with the proper attitude and approach. So yeah, we went back, drove back home. We spent some time doing our stuff. I later on picked Julian from school. We did a bit of grocery shopping and came back home. And then for the evening, we deployed the sauna. Julian stayed at home, and Elizabeth and myself, we went on to Rosnala, enjoyed a bit of operation at the ramp because the tide was high. We had a couple of daredevils visiting us, but it was very quiet. So later on, we just got into the ocean ourselves, and then did I think over an hour or almost an hour, definitely close to an hour session going in and out. It was lovely. We enjoyed it and came back home, and then I watched 1 or 2 episodes of Supernatural with Julian, and that was our day. So that's really it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. If I missed anything, it might be in the blog post. Have a great rest of the day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.